I tried. I really tried my hardest to be that girl. The one who does something different from everyone else, who thinks outside of the box, who's unique. But I can't pretend anymore. I hate the color of this wall. Deep forest green, yes. This shade, absolutely not. My house is set up in such a way that I am surrounded on every side, and so I barely get light into this room. And then the little light that I get, this walls just absorbs them. It also does not flatter my skin on camera the way I would like it to, and it also just doesn't feel like me. So I got paint, I got painters, and we're about to change this today. And while they work, let's talk about outgrowing versions of yourself. So to be fair, this house came with this color. It wasn't that I chose the green color, it came with the house. However, I saw the color and decided that this would make me look different. I would be perceived as someone unique and different from the other people who have the hospital white walls. Except that I genuinely like white walls. Not because of the crowd, not because of anyone else, but because of me. I like white walls because it gives me the space to be able to play with colors in my house. As someone who is not very conversant with mixing so many colors when they are abstract, I think that white walls are just easier to decorate many things into. They also reflect light instead of absorbing the light. They make everywhere look brighter. And that's something that I genuinely like. But I decided that I was going to force myself into liking the green wall so that I can look different, so that I can feel different. But let's be honest, pretending is extremely stressful. So no, I'm not doing that. I'm going back to a color that I really like. And if that makes me look like I've joined the rest of the crowd, then so be it. Plus, maybe the crowd knows something. White wall just helps reflect light. And this is what it is. However, at some point, it stopped being about the color of my walls and just about how I show up like this in other areas of my life. Something I don't like that I'm forcing myself to like, or something that I once liked but I don't like anymore, but I'm forcing myself to still like it even though I don't like it. And I know that I am not the only person that does this, so I ask myself, why do we do this? Why do we force ourselves to like something that we don't actually like? Why do we force ourselves to like something that we have clearly outgrown? And I got a few answers. Number one would be ego. You don't want to be perceived as inconsistent. You just look more stable if you stick to that thing that you choose. The idea is that consistency means never changing your mind. However, consistency means sticking to something that you truly believe in. So if you don't believe in what you are consistent about, it defeats the point. You should be able to grow and then be consistent in that growth until you outgrow it. And that is life. Another thing I could think of was attachment. Attachment to the version of you that chose something in the first place. For example, you have been dating this guy for 2 years and you suddenly start to feel unsafe. You feel like he's not the one, but you've introduced him to all your friends, your family members, you've met his family, and you guys have even gotten engaged and you're planning your marriage. You already know that this is not right anymore, but you decide that you'd rather stick to it than leave because you've invested your time, your money, your energy, your substance, everything, and then there is no way that you are suddenly changing your mind about something that you spent so much of everything that you have on. So you stay, but you know it's not right. Another thing about attachment is it feels like you changing your mind is you accepting that you were wrong the first time, or that version of you that everyone likes because you think a certain way. They know you to like this, and all of a sudden you like this thing, but you are accepted in the group because you like this thing, and so you don't want to leave this thing because abandoning this version of you would mean that you may not have friends or family or people who accept you and would follow you to this point. But then again, what's the point of pretending to be who you're not just to stay this way when you are now this way? Whether they go with you or not, it's better you do not abandon yourself. There is also the fear of being perceived. Your first idea might still be what everyone thinks is the right idea. For example, you chose the color green and they're like, yeah, this is different, this should be it. Everybody's house can be hospital white. We are copying each other now and everything. Yeah. So you want to be perceived that way. So the fear of being perceived as someone who is thinking like the crowd is not something that you want to deal with. But at the end of the day, to what end? Have you ever heard the saying, it's not about the container, but it's about the content? I've heard this many times, and it's always relating to relationships. So they tell you things like the reason you are still single is because you're dating your type. Maybe you should leave your type. It's not about the container, it's about the content. So it's not about what he or she looks like, it's about the insides. And I agree. Character is important, the inside is important, more important than the outward. Why shouldn't it be about the content and the container? Because the container is what you are going to. No, it wasn't you. It's actually me. My mic cut off midway while I was still talking. I had spoken for 11 minutes more and I still didn't realize. It's just now while I am trying to edit the videos that I realized that most of what I was saying was not being heard. And I don't even remember where I wanted to land at when I was talking about the content and the container. I think the summary of what I wanted to say was that relationships with my type wasn't going great. And so I had this ideology that it's not about the container, it's about the content. And maybe because of the spec of guys that I was attracted to was the reason why I wasn't finding success in my relationships. So the idea was that you should go with someone who has the content of what you need, like character wise and all, as compared to just the outward look. I held on to that ideology so much that I dated a guy that I didn't find physically attractive. And at some point, I also found out that the content wasn't also that great. I learned from that idea though that I want both the content and the container. But I was already in a relationship with someone. I stayed there a tad bit much longer than I should have, and I had to pretend that I still believe that it's not about the container. Obviously, I couldn't pretend for much longer, and I had to leave. I just had to let the people that are told know that I don't agree with what you think anymore. That ideology was not actually wrong. At least it was 50% correct. The content is obviously definitely more important than the container. After all, the body deteriorates at some point, you start to get older, you start to get wrinkled and all that. But it's also correct that you should be at least attracted to the person that you are with. And sometimes the content is not enough. Have you ever met a person that is really, really good on paper? All the characteristics that you like in a person, they have it, but for some reason, you just don't find them attractive. Yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and marry a person that I don't think I am physically attracted to. And anyone who's checking for me should check for both my content and my container, because at the end of the day, if I marry this person, I would have to live with them every day. I would have to see them every day, and it would make life much easier if I actually like both the content and the container. Before we advance into anything else, the content and the container has to align for me, and anyone can judge me by that standard as well. So yeah, I still do not understand why I chose to use that as an example. Yeah, I think I'm going to just stop here. I really, really wish that that video did not just cut off halfway, because I don't remember my points anymore and it was just coming straight from my head. About the walls though, because I had already moved into this house first, I had to take out some stuff that were in the room to my living room, and then there was some wood that had already been installed into the wall. So they had to paint it with the woods there and all. The painters also came late. They told me that they were going to be here by 9 a.m. and this is almost 10 a.m. and they are not yet here. One has already told me that the other painter has cancelled and asked me if he can postpone for the next 3 days. I'm sorry. I knew there was going to be 3 days later from today when I chose you to do the job today. And I clarified over and over yesterday evening, asking them, what time tomorrow? What time tomorrow? And I kept emphasizing, all right, see you by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, just in case AM doesn't register. And yet here we are. At least it came and it got the job done. When I saw the room, it just felt light. I just felt lighter because I was now in alignment. I was in alignment with what I really wanted. If you are not in alignment with something, it is going to feel like weight. Outgrowing something is you no longer having the ability to pretend. It is you no longer having the energy to continue to accept something that doesn't feel true to you. And guess what? That's great. That is growth. Growth comes with discomfort, and that's why there's such a thing as growing pains. Growth comes with isolation. Growth comes with boldness to take a stand even when no one else agrees with what you think. And there's beauty in your individuality. So yeah, thank you guys for coming to my TED talk. Aren't you coming? Come on. What? Sorry? You can't come? Why? You have legs, don't you? Oh, oh, okay. I'll help you, don't worry. Now, this right here is my swag. Oh, the are coming down. Every okay, fine, let's be serious. This is my vibe. This feels more like me. Give me the hospital white walls and I'm taking it all day, every day. And my point in this video is that you can change your mind. Change your mind in peace. Feel free to outgrow versions of yourself and feel free to have an idea that sounds like it's not original, but it's still here. As long as you're aligned with it, that's all that matters. If you have an idea and it sounds like the crowd's idea, but it genuinely is your idea, then let it be your idea, regardless of what people think or not. I like the change of vibe that just a color can give to the room. Definitely less moonlight in. It made my small room feel even a tad bit more spacious. As much as I've been filming content in this room already, with this color of walls, I'm going to be happier to film more content here. Thank you for sticking around with me. And if you like my content, you like what I put out, please subscribe, like, and share with anyone else that will be interested. And if you haven't caught up with my other videos on my moving on series, please catch up. And until next time, I love you guys. Stay golden. Bye.